thank you for your patience. I do apologize. Again, like I said, Citadel, So before I begin, I would like to call up on our Chief of Staff, Mr. Henry Hofschneider, to give a few words on behalf of the administration.
Thank you, John. Thank you all. I'm Henry Hofschneider, I'm the Chief of Staff of Governor Appetang. Thank you for coming. I was hoping everybody would stay back. We had a larger crowd for the meeting that just finished. This is the town hall meeting that the governor wanted to have to get everybody in, or as many people as possible, to come to the town hall meeting to share comments, to air their concerns, to speak out their minds about the proposed deep seabed mining that's going to possibly happen this year or maybe early next. The Bureau of Ocean Energy Management under the Department of the Interior has put out a request for information and interest. The RFI, in short, came out on November 12th, and we had 30 days to submit comments. On November 15, Governor Appetang and Guam Governor Lou Leon Guerrero, in a joint letter, asked the BOEM to extend the comment period for an additional 120 days. BOEM came out on December 12th, right at the lapse of the first 30 days, and granted the CNMI, or the two governors' requests, for an additional 30 days. So we have up until January 12th. I think we look at the stateside mainland U.S. time, so that'll be our January 13th time. But if you can, log on to the website. We'll provide that website soon, and submit your comments. You don't have to submit a lengthy comment. Just say what you want. If you're opposed to the RFI, then say so. If you're in favor of the RFI, then say so. If you want BOEM to provide clarification, then say so. Say it in a loud way that they hear it. American Samoa submitted 76 or 77,000 comments, and they're moving ahead. They're moving on to the next step in a lengthy process, and we'll show you the process here. We have an 11-minute video produced by BOEM, and it's going to go through the process, explain it. If you have any questions at the end of the video, ask us to replay the video or access it. We have the way to access it. Again, your comments tonight will be recorded, and we're going to have it transcribed and submit it before January 12th. That's what we're going to do. We had public comments, or the town hall meeting in Saipan on December 23rd. We had roughly 65 or 67 people showed up, and about half of them spoke. We had the comments transcribed. We have those done, ready to be submitted. We went to Rhoda 2 days ago. I think 42 people came out, and they spoke loudly, and 99.9% were not in favor of what BOEM is proposing to do. So we want to hear from everybody here tonight. Please speak.
There you go. All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Henry, for giving us those remarks. So we will be playing the video, so I encourage you to come up here a little bit closer so you can see and hear as well the video if you haven't seen it yet. Next slide. So, upon the completion of viewing the video, we'll go into public comment. Now, folks, it all depends on how many people have signed up as well on the time with regard to giving your public comment. We're giving 3 to 5 minutes. And for those of you that have seen us do these meetings, especially myself, I'm pretty strict with time. We'll be holding up the signs. Sam, our director, and she'll give you a signal with regard to the countdown. Now again, if you're closing up, please close your comments. More than welcome to submit your comments as well. Again, as earlier mentioned in the other meeting, respect is very important, civility, and how we speak to each other in these meetings and how we address each other, and as well as providing the courtesy for one speaker, one individual to speak. Listen actively, listen to what's going on, especially the video that's going to be played by or presented by BOEM. Stay on topic. Please stay on topic. There's one thing that we have a problem is that we start talking about something else, something maybe with regard to on island, especially on Tinian, DOW, to the political issues, currents, and so forth. Stay on topic. Do not attack a person or anybody else in the meeting, as well as anybody outside this meeting. Offer solutions. Give us solutions. Put it on paper as well. Submit it. We do have the handouts back there with the link of the video, as well as the link for the FR notice, federally registered notice, on how you can submit your comments. Once again, please silence your devices. That's the same thing. And of course, I'll mention again, duration of the comment should be 3 to 5 minutes. Now, again, I'm basing it off how many people are providing public comments. So with that said, we'll begin the video.
First, take a moment to look at this map of the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands, along with the other Pacific islands. Half a day, and Tiro. My name is Natalie Dayal. I am a leasing specialist with the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management, or BOEM's Pacific region. This presentation is on the Outer Continental Shelf, or OCS, mineral leasing process in the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands. In this presentation, I will provide an overview of BOEM's role in managing resources on the OCS, an overview of the OCS mineral lease sale process, and an update on where we are in the process with the current Request for Information and Interest, or RFI, in the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands. BOEM's mission is to manage the development of energy, mineral, and geological resources on nearly 3.2 billion acres of the U.S. Outer Continental Shelf in an environmentally and economically responsible way. BOEM is one of 11 bureaus within the U.S. Department of the Interior and has 3 regional offices. BOEM's Pacific OCS Regional Office, located in Camarillo, California, is responsible for managing energy and mineral resources on all submerged federal lands lying beneath the ocean, within the U.S. Exclusive Economic Zone, or EEZ, beyond coastal waters off California, Oregon, Washington, and Hawaii, which includes 3 miles from the coastline to approximately 200 miles offshore, as well as submerged federal lands within the EEZ adjacent to all U.S. territories, which was included in the definition of the OCS in the Outer Continental Shelf Lands Act and the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022. Let's first take a moment to look at this map of the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands, along with the other Pacific islands. The U.S. mainland is located in the top right-hand corner, and the dark blue shaded areas surrounding each of the states and Pacific territories identifies the Outer Continental Shelf areas. National marine sanctuaries, monuments, and wildlife refuges are the dark shaded areas in red. The light yellow areas indicate areas of cobalt-rich ferromanganese crust and the light blue areas indicate potential areas of polymetallic nodules. The overlapping darker yellow areas indicate potential areas of both crusts and nodules. What this map represents are areas where both oceanographic and geologic information, including seafloor morphology, such as seamounts and ridges or abyssal plains, indicate where crusts and nodules are likely to occur. While this map identifies areas with minerals potential, it does not necessarily indicate whether minerals have been found there. BOEM continues to work closely with the United States Geological Survey, or USGS, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, and other partners to advance the understanding and assessment of critical minerals in the Pacific OCS. USGS and NOAA continue to support BOEM by providing the latest scientific data on critical mineral resources, as well as potential environmental impacts and hazards associated with seafloor development. OCS minerals refer to mineral resources located on the seabed and in the subsoil of the continental shelf beyond the 3 nautical mile limit of state and territorial jurisdiction. This presentation focuses on non-energy marine minerals, minerals other than oil, gas, and sulfur. These seabed minerals may contain critical minerals. Critical minerals include nickel, cobalt, lithium, manganese, and rare earth elements. These resources are vital to the nation's energy, technology, and defense needs. The Department of the Interior recently updated the list in November of 2025. The list now includes 60 critical minerals that have been identified as essential resources that power our economy, strengthen our national defense, and support emerging technologies. This diagram shows different types of seabed mineral deposits where critical minerals may be found. Phosphorites and heavy mineral sands can occur near shore, and polymetallic sulfide deposits can occur in water depths from 100 to 7,000 meters, or about 300 to 23,000 feet deep. In the Western Pacific OCS, we are primarily discussing the potential for polymetallic nodules, which are potato-shaped nodules that occur on soft sediments of abyssal plains at depths of 3,500 to 6,000 meters, or 11,000 to 20,000 feet, as well as cobalt-rich ferromanganese crusts that form on the sides and summits of seamounts and ridges at depths of 400 to 7,000 meters, or 1,300 to 23,000 feet deep. BOEM has the authority to administer a leasing program for minerals other than oil, gas, and sulfur in the OCS, where many of these minerals can be found. Some of you may be aware, a separate OCS mineral leasing process for areas offshore American Samoa is underway. For the leasing process for minerals offshore the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands, the first step was the publication of a Request for Information and Interest, or RFI, and we are currently in an open comment period. Once the comment period closes, BOEM will analyze the recommendations, comments, and information we have received from the RFI. As demonstrated in this process flow chart, the next 2 steps would include the identification of areas to be considered for leasing and a National Environmental Policy Act, or NEPA, review of the areas identified. The size of areas identified is intended to be sufficiently large enough to include potentially mineable mineral ore bodies. Based on area identification and NEPA review, if the decision is to move forward, the next step would be the issuance of a proposed leasing notice, which would be published in the Federal Register. This notice, which includes a public comment period, would outline proposed sale procedures, stipulations, payments, and other terms and conditions that might be prescribed in a lease. After considering comments submitted on the proposed leasing notice, the next step would then be to issue a leasing notice that would include a description of the areas and minerals to be offered for lease, as well as the bidding mechanism, auction details, and lease terms and conditions. If all these steps were to happen, a competitive OCS mineral lease sale under the specified terms and conditions of the leasing notice would be held. Throughout the process, there would be opportunities for territorial government and community engagement and comments. The activities under an executed lease and the additional approvals for subsequent activities are described in the next slide. So moving beyond the lease sale and an executed lease, a lessee would only be authorized to conduct preliminary activities on its lease, which include performing bathymetric, geological, geophysical mapping, and other surveys necessary to develop a comprehensive delineation, testing, and/or mining plans, as well as submitting plans to conduct delineation, testing, or mining activities for technical and environmental reviews by BOEM. Lessees are required to submit a mining plan for review prior to conducting mining activities under their lease. The mining plan may include proposed delineation or testing activities. A lessee may also decide to submit a delineation plan and/or testing plan before submitting a mining plan if those activities are needed to obtain additional data and information to develop their mining plan. It is important to note that the lessee must receive approval from BOEM prior to conducting the delineation, testing, and mining activities described in their plan or plans. So again, what are the various plans a lessee could submit to BOEM? Delineation plans describe the activities to locate minerals and quantify and qualify minerals. Testing plans describe feasibility studies, pilot programs to evaluate processing techniques and technology, and activities to determine environmental effects. And a mining plan describes proposed mineral development, production, and processing activities. The mining plan includes detailed technical and engineering information and would cover all mineral development and production activities. The mining plan would include comprehensive detailed descriptions, illustrations, and explanations of the proposed OCS mineral development, production, and processing activities, and accurately present the lessee's proposed plan of operation. The Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands is at the very beginning of the process with the publication of a request for information and interest in the Federal Register. This notice was published on November 12th, and we are seeking information on and interest in the RFI area. BOEM is particularly interested in obtaining information regarding industry interests, geologic conditions, potential environmental and cultural impacts, and the multiple uses of the area such as navigation and fishing. In Section 6 of the RFI, there is particularly helpful information on the types of information and comments we are seeking. For example, we are seeking information on socioeconomic, biological, and environmental information in the RFI area or analogous sites for comparative analysis, potential impacts of leasing and mining activities to these resources, and methods to eliminate, mitigate, or monitor these impacts. Another example that BOEM is seeking information on is any information regarding commercial, indigenous, and recreational fisheries, including but not limited to the use of areas, the fishing gear types used, seasonal use, and recommendations for reducing use conflicts. The RFI area is located east of the Mariana Trench National Monument on the eastern edge of the OCS. The public comment period was extended for a total of 60 days to January 12, 2026. Therefore, BOEM must receive all comments, information, and indications of interest in response to this RFI no later than January 12, 2026. Written comments may be submitted electronically using regulations.gov, docket number BOEM-2025-0351, or by mail. Additional information on how to submit comments and access the request for information and interest can be found at www.boem.gov/CNMI. Commenters should be as specific and detailed as possible to help BOEM understand and address the comments. All information provided to BOEM will be considered in the decision whether to proceed with additional steps leading to the offering of OCS minerals for lease. BOEM will continue to engage with the CNMI as part of our ongoing efforts to strengthen relationships and ensure transparency in our planning process. As part of our engagement, BOEM will continue to discuss the comments we received during the RFI comment period with the CNMI and collaborate on next steps. Our intent is to be transparent, collaborative, and mindful throughout the process, and we welcome your comments on the RFI and input on how we can make our engagement as meaningful as possible. Again, my name is Natalie Dayal. Please feel free to reach out. We appreciate this opportunity to share this with you. Sizu Maasi, Heliso, thank you.
We will now begin the public comment. Lorenzo, could you be providing me that list of people that have signed up? Once again, please be mindful of the ground rules that I mentioned earlier about respect and giving everybody a chance to speak tonight. May I call upon our Mayor of Tinian to be the first public comment. Yes, sir. You can take the comment out.
Thank you and good evening, Mayor Audon from the island of Tinian. First, I want to thank the governor and the lieutenant governor for making, for pleading for the extension of us doing the comments and going out on public hearings. And to CRM, BCQ, thank you again for hosting, moderating this public hearing. You know, our environment is very precious for us. We are an island. We're not like anybody in the States. It's a big continent, and you can move whenever the pollution occurs, you can move. But for us out here as being a Pacific Islander, the ocean and the water is very precious for us. One of the things that I want to say is, you know, we navigated ourselves through the trench, Marianas Trench, you know, the organization that is in custody or who is monitoring and supposed to be protecting, and all of these things, that good things were being offered to our people a couple of years back. And then now to hear that the federal government is allowed to go submerge and go underwater and harvest. You know, something's wrong. Why do we allow? First of all, I'm opposed to this venture of a federal agency not really coming to our island and really sit down with us. They do understand that we're not that gullible, although we are poor at this time, but at least talk to us about some kind of benefits that we can get out of this. This benefit is going to go to the federal government. Why not the Commonwealth? You know? But by the way, I went to this the library at 3:30, and you know, they came out here and make presentation, and our kids were there, and they listened to what is the effect of this undertaking. It's not just this generation. It's not me. It's our future generation. They are going to be. They're going to be the effect of the actual effect of this undergoing project, or what the federal government BOEM. I hope that more time is given to us, the Commonwealth and Guam, and to be a part of this venture. We're being kept out, and this is our side of our country. You know, it's really good. We sacrifice ourselves for national defense. Now we're even our natural resources. Now they're gonna eat up our resources and leave us with junks and not even a penny. There will be some, but you know, those are Puruno Ansobla. You know, it's about time the federal government considers ang insinyang mga FSM in the billions, ng Palau in the 100 millions. Don't treat us like para sardinas, parang patin sardinas sa amin, parang naayami, puro tampuson. You know, we are Americans, and we deserve better than just being their backdoor playground. Basta now, we're very committed to the national defense para tagini talo, para maupusa talo. I'll bet you nobody from this region is going to be doing the mining. Is somebody there in DC? Si SMP man makusit sa talo. So di ba sulay ita para DC? So I'm against the what is being offered right now, unless otherwise they come back and sit down with us and talk more, because this is not a 1 month no effect is of future generations, and we want to get benefits out of this. Thank you and good evening.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Our next public comment is from Senator Jude Hofschneider.
Thank you, Floyd and Jesus Masi Talonin. Nagwahan istina junta no prewa ma express gi ofa sangan ni kabeta Jangin tikabalis informasyon. Zakalan man masudzu amin pamen Matinas. Posisyon ni Pabin Suporta, di Pabin Suporta, kalan makat Pabin Suporta on the outset. Pes pareho na sentimento sa nihunoy gini no tumu ame tintingo puristi deep sea mining. No, nevertheless, it's good that this thing is being presented to us, the RFI. I was kind of looking at the timeline. I'm a little bit concerned with the aggressiveness. And to circle back on Mayor Odon's concern is allow the CNMI more time, the people, to understand this further. Because at this juncture right now, it's very difficult for me personally to support this when in fact it's a presentation that was just made, 2 months ago? And we've never heard a venture of this magnitude. And I don't want to throw this term liberally because it is very near and dear to us, especially the people of Tinian. But since the 1960s, they always throw this term because of the interest of national security. And again, I'm hearing it again because of the interest of national security on that little footnote there. And respectfully, in the interest of national security, we gave up 2/3 of Tinian. You know, and again, we're being presented with this proposal by Boeing. So I respectfully request, will register my opposition at this juncture because of the lack of information that my people, our people have to further understand the validity of this, especially the environmental impact, because we are, we rely on the ocean a lot. And plus, what are the direct benefit for the community of the CNMI that is going to come out of this? Are we going to get 1%? Are we going to get 5%? Or what are we going to get? Kuganin no sta na informasyon. Sa nigi patino gi necessario no claro. Not this, anyhow. So I don't want to be, going offline here, Floyd. But again, thank you for having this. This is a good portal to have, and I encourage y'all to come back again. Whatever it takes, come back and talk to the communities. And I appreciate that you guys are doing this. Thank you so much. Good evening.
Thank you, Senator. The next comment will be from Joanne Merritt. Your turn now.
It's finally my turn. Sorry for interrupting. Oh, can you hold that for me, will I? As I said, and I don't know whether you heard what I was saying, but we live in a region that has a lot of seamounts. And the seamounts are actually live volcanoes. I had to look that up because I wasn't sure whether they were or not, but they are. And what I found out in the research I was doing in 2021, this seamount, Aussie or Ahi, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it, erupted. And at the same time, Japan was doing deep seabed drilling. Now, coincidence or not, I don't know, except that when you have a lot of pressure, if you're going down and you're disrupting the earth and where all the magma is, because the further they go down, the hotter it gets. So they're getting closer to the magma. So they're disrupting that. And, we're in a chain of volcanoes. And it was the same way in when I lived in Portland, Oregon, British Columbia, California. There's faults and different things that we have to really look at. If they're going down disrupting, I just feel that it would cause an awful lot of problems. Changes in stress can cause eruptions, dynamic triggering, earthquakes and energy, and it can activate volcanic activity. So this is a really large thing we really need to be considering. And it's upsetting to me that man has to go and suck the life out of a beautiful place as the trench and all the wonderful life that is down there that we're just finding out about but not destroying it. And this machinery that they take down there, you can't tell me that it's not going to disrupt everything that's there, all the life that's there. And if they're stirring up toxic material, we have enough metals and that in our fish today without having that kind of thing. In 1978, for instance, fishermen were out, and because of these volcanic eruptions, you know, the sulfur and everything bubbles up to the surface, but they actually felt a large vibration, you know, so this is something extreme. I just don't feel that man should be messing with it. They talk about global warming, but I feel that's a man thing as well. Let's see. I don't know how much that they have, and I don't know who they is, are, but whether they've been in contact with the Northern Marianas volcanologists or not, and finding out where we're at. But as I was reading and finding out, the Marianas Trench is under the yellow advisory, so that's almost to the, you know, a danger point. So it's something that I think we need to look at and really do the research. But as I said, we are on the ring of fire, so it's something we can't be messing with. I don't feel.
You have 30 seconds.
30 seconds. Okay. All right. When you have volcanic eruptions and that, you have floating pumice and volcanic debris. So we don't want that either because it kills the fish and the life. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Once again, if you like to submit your comment, please do it so online as well, if you need to. All right, so the next public comment would also is Ms. Deborah Fleming.
Deborah Fleming is my name, and I represent the Tinian Women's Association. And we are opposed to any authorization, advancement of the deep seabed mining in the United States territories. We stand in solidarity with other individuals, organizations opposing deep seabed mining in the Pacific territories. We express our strong and unequivocal opposition to any federal action that would permit, promote, advance deep seabed mining within any federal, any jurisdiction of the United States, including all U.S. territories and surrounding exclusive economic zones. Deep seabed mining presents profound and irreversible risks to fragile marine ecosystems, cultural heritage, regional stability, and long-term health and security of Pacific communities. It is important that these risks shall not be viewed in isolation. The Pacific region has already endured cumulative burden of environmental and military harms from nuclear fallout in the Marshall Islands, to the release of treated nuclear wastewater in the Pacific Ocean, to continued military buildup on and around U.S. territories. Deep seabed mining would compound these existing threats and further endanger communities already disproportionately affected by historic and ongoing injustice. 1. Deep seabed mining threatens irreplaceable ocean ecosystems. The deep ocean supports ancient coral, hyperthermal vent life, and unique species found nowhere else. Because these ecosystems recover over centuries or longer, any disturbance from mining, including sediment plumes, acoustic disruption, and habitat destruction, would effectively be permanent. Proceeding without comprehensive baseline data and without proven mitigation strategies violates the precautionary principle that should guide all federal environmental decisions. Second, Pacific communities already face the consequences of nuclear harm. These people, the people of the Marshall Islands and other Pacific nations, continue to live with long-term health, ecological, and cultural impacts of U.S. nuclear weapons testing. Radioactive waste remains a persistent threat, like the sites in the Marshall Islands that is deteriorating. Introducing deep seabed mining to this region adds another layer of ecological stress, risks disturbing contaminated sediments, and sends a harmful message that Pacific peoples, again, can be asked to bear environmental sacrifices for external interests. Third, nuclear wastewater dumping creates additional pathways of cumulative contamination. The release of treated nuclear wastewater into the Pacific Ocean, regardless of claimed safety levels, has heightened regional fears of bioaccumulation, fishery impacts, and long-term marine health consequences, such as deep seabed mining, would exacerbate these concerns, introducing heavy metal and chemical pollution, widespread sediment plumes, and overlapping contaminant pathways that interact with existing radiculite burdens. For island communities dependent on marine resources for food, livelihood, and cultural practices, these risks are unacceptable. 4. Military buildup intensifies vulnerability and environmental pressure. Many U.S. territories already bear the weight of military expansion, including land takings, ecological disturbance, sonar activity, and contamination. These pressures weakens ecosystems and reduce the resilience of both communities and marine environments. By pushing fragile ocean systems past their thresholds, deep seabed mining compounds harm and increases geopolitical tensions in a region that already defined by strategic competition. Fifth, cumulative intersecting harms constitute a human rights issue. Taken together, nuclear legacy, wastewater discharge, militarization, climate impacts, now proposed seabed mining Pacific communities face a stacked and escalating environmental burden, and these are intersecting harms threaten the right to health, the right to clean and safe environment, food security, cultural survival. In closing, the United States should invest in sustainable circular economic solutions, not open new extractive frontiers in one of the Earth's most fragile ecosystems. Given the irreversible ecological damage, the federal agencies should reject any permit, licenses, or authorization for deep seabed mining in the United States territories and associated waters. Establish moratorium or prohibition on deep seabed mining until comprehensive independent science demonstrates it can be conducted without harm, something that is currently impossible. And prioritize restoration, nuclear cleanup, timely community consultation, and sustainable economic development. This is just one ocean. These are just some of the known historical harms.
Deborah,
and
please close.
Sir,
make your closing.
I will. This is just one ocean. It connects. It's only divided by imaginary lines created by many different countries with imaginary possession. It is only one ocean, and it affects all of us and connects the whole world. Thank you.
Thank you. The last individual that signed up for public comment, Mr. Richard Farrell.
Good evening. Once again, my name is Richard Farrell. I'm a resident of Tinian. The comments I'm going to make today are of my own. I do not represent any government agency or non-government organization. I am writing to express my strong opposition to any seabed mining activities that are authorized, facilitated, or endorsed by the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management, BOEM, within or in proximity of the waters of the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands. For the people of the Sinamay, the ocean is not an expendable resource. It is our primary source of food, cultural foundation, our economic backbone, and our responsibility to future generations. Seabed mining threatens these fundamentals in ways that are permanent, irreversible, incompatible with the survival of the island, incompatible with the survival of the island communities. Excuse me. The current request and consultation process appears to be little more than procedural formality. Although public comments are invited and meetings are convened, historical evidence indicate that federal decisions impacting the Sinamay are frequently predetermined, with local input regarded as symbolic rather than decisive. Neither the people of the Sinamay nor the environment meaningfully benefit from such process. This concern is not theoretical. It is rooted in lived experiences. For more than 30 years, the people of the Marianas have repeatedly borne the cost of federal actions while receiving few of the promised benefits. Large portions of ancestral lands were taken or restricted for military use, often with limited compensation or long-term access issues to local families. Federal control over immigration fundamentally altered the Sinamay's demographic balance, strained public service, and weakened local authorities over workforce and community planning. Changes imposed on fisheries management reduced local control over marine resources that island communities have substantially relied upon for generations. Disaster recovery decisions, infrastructure priorities, and economic policies were frequently delayed, underfunded, or misaligned with local realities. In each case, federal actions were justified as necessary, temporary, or beneficial. Yet the long-term consequences were borne almost entirely by the people of the Sinamay. Seabed mining follows this same pattern. It will. Just want to cut in. Look at American Samoa. If you guys can just take the time in 5 minutes and look what's happening in American Samoa regarding seabed mining. The extracted resources will not, okay, let me go back. Seabed mining follows the same pattern. The extracted resources will not remain in the Sinamay. The profits will not stay in the Sinamay. The decision-making authority will not rest with the Sinamay. What will remain are the risks, damaged marine ecosystems, disrupted fisheries, cultural loss, and permanent uncertainty about the health of our waters. Once again, the Sinamay is positioned as a sacrifice zone for national and private interests. If BOEM allows an outside investor to proceed with the seabed mining despite local opposition, then the people of Sinamay must demand nothing less than heaven and earth in return for what history tells us will otherwise be taken without adequate return. The people of the Sinamay have seen this story before. We've been told that federal projects will bring opportunities, stability, and progress, only to be left with lost dependency and diminished control over our own future. Seabed mining must not become the next chapter in that history. I urge BOEM to deny any seabed mining activities that would affect the Sinamay. If that does not occur, then the Sinamay people must insist on terms so extraordinary that they finally break a long pattern of federal extraction without equitable return. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. We do have one more that's signed up. But please hold the mic closer. So it is being recorded, and of course for transcription purposes we need that closer. So Richard, if you like, you could give us a copy of your public comment tonight. So, all right, so promise is the last one that signed up before I open for public comment is Mr. John Gurley.
Thank you very much, John Gurley. I have a little bit of experience dealing with the federal government as I used to work for them during the dark part of my life. And I just wanted to throw out some suggestions for y'all to consider. This process, you're not going to stop. You can say no, but you're not going to stop it. It's going to be the decision by Washington on whether or not they go to the next step. Right now, they're not proposing deep sea mining. It's just an RFI, a request for information. Now, you know where that leads, but at this point in time, I would like to feel it would be important for the CNMI government to embrace the process and possibly create an ad hoc group from one person from Tinian, Rota, Saipan as a committee to oversee this process so it doesn't get out of hand and kind of to control it to the best we can, the best ability we can. If we bury our head in the sand and say no, we're going to lose. Also, too, with respect to benefits, the OCS Act, Outer Continental Shelf Act, I believe the original act allowed for certain profit sharing for the states of Florida and Texas. Well, why don't we get a hold of Kimberly, ask her if there's a possibility to modify the latest version of OCS to allow profit sharing for Guam, CNMI, American Samoa. Try it. See if it works, and see if you can start working from that direction. And the last comment would be, if they do go forward with this, that's the time to start ringing the bell about the environmental impacts. But quite honestly, mining is an unsustainable resource. Harvesting. That's just a fact of life. You look at strip mining on the East Coast, coal. Damage is going to happen. You're not going to be able to mine for anything and not have environmental damage. The best you can hope for is to understand what they're going to do and develop protocol, develop technology that minimizes the impact to the marine environment. So we're up against a rock and a hard place. And again, if we ignore it and say no and don't embrace the process, I think we're going to lose. And that's it. Thank you, Mr. Floyd.
Thank you, John. So now we will open with the public meeting, and we have, right here, sir, can you state your name? Then after that, Henry.
Yeah, for the record, my name is Jose M. de la Cruz. I am the chairman for the Soil and Water Conservation District for the island of Tinian and Aguiguan. I'm also the chairman for the Tinian Cattlemen's Association. I want to thank the governor for requesting for the extension so that we can be a part of this discussion. I'm glad that somebody mentioned also that whether we like it or not, pretty much the federal government is on its way to pretty much start the ball rolling. For the record, I'm in opposition on seabed mineral mining, really, because the devastation that it creates is very, very, very bad for our species out there. But there's one thing that I want to make it clear for the leaders of the CNMI and also for our delegate in Washington, D.C., please pay close attention to this undertaking, because I honestly believe that we have sacrificed so much already, especially us folks coming from Tinian. As you can see, we have sacrificed 2/3 of our island that actually directly impacts our Cattlemen's Association at this point in time. We want to expand to the point where we can develop a better beef industry, but with the limited land area that we have, we are pretty much struggling to get that thing through. Back to the agenda. I want the leaders of the CNMI and also us to, and also for the sake of being part of the American family, I want the federal government to give us, to make sure that there's no hidden agenda on this undertaking. I know that this is just the start of the process. I think the most important thing here is for them to be open, transparent, and be very mindful that we're living in an island that is so small. The land area is tiny compared to a lot of places. And if something goes wrong, we're going to be left with possibly destruction that cannot be resolved in an appropriate manner. I know that the federal government is doing this under this administration because of the war on rare earth minerals, and they're trying their very best to be competitive with particularly China, of course. So they came up with the executive order last year, and to my surprise, Jesus, it's already here. So all I'm saying here is, for the folks back in DC, for the federal government, please keep an open mind and make sure that we participate from this initial start all the way to where they're going. And please also, for the record, please try to find alternative areas that they can mine. Because we are in a very fragile area, and I was honestly shocked. I was honestly shocked because I thought that Marianas Trench is going to be under Marine Reserve and whatnot and all this kind of stuff, and then to my surprise, this thing pops out. So I'm just hoping that our federal government seriously, with all honesty, give us the opportunity to participate on all this decision making from this day forward. Undang Kulunat Jesus Masi for coming over and giving us the opportunity to participate. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. De La Cruz. The next person that raised their hand, Mr. Henry Fendel, please use the mic and state your name.
Hello, everybody. My name is Henry Fandel. I am a resident of Saipan, and I work for CNMI Division of Fish and Wildlife. I'm here on official work travel. Thank you very much to the people of Tinian for hosting this forum, for CRM for hosting this forum, and for having me as a visitor and participant. There have been a number of comments expressing concern, both for an interest in participation in the process and also a pessimistic view that there is nothing the CNMI can do to change the outcome of the process. The one thing that I want my comment tonight to be about is an avenue for increased participation in the process for the CNMI. And this is an avenue that is formally encoded in the regulations that govern the process that we are currently going through, that the regulations that govern the RFI from BOEM. So there is a portion in the regulations, the Code of Federal Regulations, 581.13, that allows states and territories to request a joint state-federal task force from the Secretary of the Interior and this joint federal state task force would afford the CNMI increased transparency, increased engagement, and increased means of managing solutions to the concerns that our community has. This is something that has to be formally requested. This is not something that the process establishes on its own. And so what I would like to urge everybody to do as they submit their comments is please include the language, the words, I support the formation of a joint federal state task force. This will require BOEM, when they review your comment, to consider that voice, that lobby for this formal process to be initiated. At the same time, within the government, we're working on an approach to formally request that. But the more voices that voice an interest in this option, the greater the chances are that it will be approved, it can be formed, and the CNMI can avail of greater engagement, greater transparency throughout the process. I do want to be clear that it does not afford the CNMI veto power or ultimate control over the federal process. This is just a means of increased engagement and increased problem solving. And that's all I've got to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy. Is there anybody else that would like to give public comment? Please raise your hand so the mic can be brought to you. Is there anybody else? Please raise your hand if you would like to give public comment.
Can I finish my? I'm kidding.
Ms. Sheila Babauta.
Thank you. Thank you, Hafaday Tiro Casalalia. My name is Sheila Jack Babauta. I am a resident of Saipan, and I am here representing Friends of the Mariana Trench. We are a grassroots organization. We do have ocean science clubs here on Tinian, Solving for X program, where we bridge the gap and offer spaces for our youth to learn from our ocean elders and Western science. And so we do have an extensive network internationally. We've been around for over 15 years. And we do understand the deep concern about this issue. And we've been a part of it from the very beginning. I've also done a lot of work with the U.S. territories. So we have been following what's been happening in American Samoa. And we have witnessed how they submitted over 76,000 public comments. Only about 1,000 were considered unique, and the U.S. federal government and the process still moved forward, even though they had full opposition from their governor, lieutenant governor, their delegate, their Senate, their House of Representatives. They not only moved forward in the process, they expanded the area of interest, doubling the size. And so, you know, we can expect a similar result. I'm grateful for the solutions that were brought forward or suggestions. It is important for us to submit public comments to show that there's resistance, that there's opposition, and we're not alone. Over 40 nations from around the world oppose deep sea mining. The economic promises are false. There's already studies showing that it's very costly to do this kind of mining. It's the most expensive way that you can mine minerals. And there are studies that show the market prices of these minerals are so volatile, you cannot predict profit. And the company, this minerals company, has offered a 1% profit sharing, but who knows what that profit is even gonna be. after all of the expenses, right, of running an industry like this. There's also case studies and failed attempts in other nations like Papua New Guinea, and the company went bankrupt and left the local government with the expenses, with a large bill, with, abandoned properties and equipment. So we are in full opposition of deep sea mining. We have a petition out there. There are several ways that you can be involved. In addition to submitting your public comments, we have a petition that has now garnered over 3,000 signatures, and it's still going, from all the U.S. territories and internationally. We have a letter for nonprofit organizations to sign on to, if you're a nonprofit organization and want to sign on to that letter. And we have a scientific letter that we're supporting from another grassroots organization called Taunu Tasis and Todu for scientists to sign on. We have a resource document that's publicly available. If you want to read all the articles, we have all the links in there to studies, to the videos, the recordings that have already happened in the last 30 plus days. The comment period only allowed for a 30-day window for us to comment on this major issue that will impact generations to come. So we're really grateful for the administration for requesting a 120-day extension, but we only got 30 days, and we're grateful for the additional extension that the administration is still asking, because the total of 60 days happened during the holidays, and it was really challenging for our community to organize, to meet, to help educate people about what's happening. We have found that either people are not aware that there's a comment period open, or they know nothing about deep sea mining. It's such a new topic. So we are supporting the additional extension request, and we at the Friends of the Mariana Trench are here to support you if you are interested in submitting a public comment or know anyone who would like to submit one. We have released a guide on how to submit a public comment, what they're looking for, and if you need help uploading and submitting, we're offering those resources too. So we thought it would be really important for us to be present here at this town hall. We were also on Luta and on Saipan because we are one Marianas. What happens in our sister islands impacts all of us, and we want to stay unified in our voice. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheila. We are still open for public comment. Anybody else? Anyone else would like to give public comment? If there is no other public comment, then we will be forced to end the meeting. So I'll ask again, is there anyone else that would like to give public comment? Right here.
Oh my goodness.
Hafaday Zen Tito. My name is Amanda Dedicatoria. I serve as a board member of the Micronesia Climate Change Alliance. I am a resident of Guahan, a member of the Filipino community, born and raised in Guahan, and just gifted with the honor of being raised by this place, the beauty and majesty that is being from the Marianas. I am a science communicator, which basically means that I am a storyteller. I go to scientists and I ask them their stories, their studies, their research, and I bring those stories to our communities so that everyone is able to understand them. In my journey as a storyteller, I have been able to have the privilege and honor to sail on deep sea research expeditions, including one within and around the Mariana Trench Marine National Monument, the very waters that we are talking about today. And I'm here to share that they are beautiful, vast, and ancient. The sea mountains, the seamounts, the active volcanoes that the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management is looking, the US government is looking to potentially mine. They are ocean engineers. They engineer the way that the water flows in our ocean. If you are at the beach and you push some water towards your friend, that water is going to go above and to the side. And that's the way that sea mountains work. Those currents go towards the mountain, and all of that water goes around the mountain and over it. And those currents are full of nutrients, of plankton, of detritus that the fish eat. The very fish. It nourishes the very fish that our communities eat, that sustains us, that makes us unable to live the lives that we live. That ferromanganese crust takes millions of years to form, with a growth rate of around a millimeter of growth takes around 1 million years. When we are talking about potentially mining these resources, these relatives, these ancestors, we are talking about making decisions that affect us, not only our generation, not only our children's generations, but the generations beyond their grandchildren. These resources are not renewable. Once they are taken, they are gone. When it comes, and within the request for interest area itself, there are around 150 sea mountains. And that is because the Marianas region has some of the oldest and largest sea mountains in our world, the densest sea mountain systems. If you've ever eaten fresh fish from here, it is because they come from that place. These great sea mountains, crusted with beautiful and majestic coral reefs, all ancient on their own. These habitats that provide shelter and food and nourishment for the fish that we eat, our communities. And if these sea mountains are mined, these vulnerable and amazing ecosystems, you may get toxic sediment plumes with heavy metals. And like we talked about, like I shared, with sea mountains being ocean engineers, engineers of flow, those toxic sediments don't just float in the water, they spread. They could spread. And those toxic heavy metals could potentially get into the fish that we eat, the fish that sustains ourselves. As for those manganese nodules, these potato-shaped rocks, they take millions of years to grow. And at the depths where they are found, the water is cold and dark. And it is in these cold, dark waters that carbon is stored, because carbon is more easily mixed in cold water. I say that because the ocean is our greatest climate regulator. It is the lungs of our world. This ancestor that allows us to breathe, to live the days that we have. If the ocean is harmed, we could potentially face even more drastic effects of climate change. The Micronesia Climate Change Alliance is in opposition to deep seabed mining within the Marianas, not as an act of resistance per se, but an act of reverence, of responsibility to the beauty and the majesty and abundance of this place. Thank you. Jesus Maasi.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry, did you state your name earlier?
Oh yes, I'll do it again. Half a day, I'm Amanda Dedicatoria.
Thank you.
Like but just to start you off.
All right, thank you. Just to make sure it's on the record. All right, so we're winding down. We're about to close up. So is there any other public comment that anybody would like to give tonight? Oh, we're just going to wait 10 more minutes. Just kidding. Is there anybody else? Last call, going once. All right. Thank you, everybody. I would like now to call for closing remarks our Chief of Staff, Mr. Henry Hofschneider.
This is Mossy Floyd. Thank you all for coming. I know a lot of people left. I think it was dinner time. They didn't want to miss dinner. But we heard a lot of good comments, thanks to our friends who followed us from Saipan to Luta and then here to and Tinian. Great team. And thank you for sharing a lot of good stories. Those are very valuable when we think about what Boeing is doing. President Trump, Mr. De La Cruz mentioned signing Executive Order 14285. And if you read that executive order, he says something that everybody in this room would say, that's going beyond what people should be thinking. It's all about the future. It's all about securing our nation's future. The reliance on other countries for critical minerals and rare earth elements has come to a point where the U.S. has said it's time. We build our own supply so that any disruption in the supply chain wouldn't jeopardize what our nation is trying to do, and that's protecting us. Our world is changing. It's moving fast. They send satellites up in space to look at you, at what you're doing in your kitchen. You know that when you walk and talk on your phone, somebody could be listening to you at the Pentagon or CIA or in China or Russia or North Korea. So that's where President Trump is coming from. We gotta realize that. Mr. John Gurley said we can't stop the process, but maybe we can slow it down, right? We can ask Boeing to think more, because we don't know what's 22,000 feet under the ocean surface. We've never seen it. Maybe those submersibles would send up photographs and all that, and we marvel at those. And it took millions of years for them to develop. So your comments tonight would count. Thank you all for doing that. And on behalf of Governor Aptang, Sus Masi, we have been communicating with Boeing. We've had monthly call-ins with them. We have one scheduled for the 14th of this month. And somebody mentioned there was another joint letter that was sent out, or Governor Aptang and Governor Leon Guerrero sent out, asking Boeing to come out here, demanding them to come out here and to give us another 120 days beyond the 60 days that we now have. Deputy Assistant Secretary Bill Hague of the Insular Affairs said he'll help us get that extension. So we're crossing our fingers. They hear us. What else? When Boeing comes out, we'll try and get them to come out here to Tinian. We don't want to dictate what they do, but we want to pressure them to come out here to talk to you. We want them to come out to Rota as well. So our friends, budget, prepare, come along, and show up. I think that's it, right, Floyd? Thank you all.
Thank you so much for coming. It shows your involvement. And again, please submit your comments. The flyer is out there on the desk over there if you guys would like to submit or look at the links and so forth. Thank you.